in the early stages of our healing journey, or when we're in a particularly deep, dark low, we're often stuck in an experience of contraction. And it can feel pretty bleak here and like we can't get out of it and we don't know what to do to shift our ick. And something that I learned during the healing journey is that expansion is inevitable. And so is contraction. So just consider our breath. When we breathe in, we expand, and when we breathe out, we contract. Our healing journey is much like this. Life is just like this. But we've been conditioned to become so afraid of contraction and so desiring of expansion that we're terrified when we're in a contraction. And when we become terrified of our contraction, we actually stick ourselves deeper into it. And we need to learn to trust that there will always be expansion after contraction. And similarly, expansion can't exist forever. There's always going to be contraction after expansion. Again, consider the breath. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. And something that can happen is when we finally get out of our contraction and we go into an expansive state again, we want to stay there. And what can happen is we just overexpand ourselves so much that we pop and then we end up back in contraction again. And so that can lead to these high-low cycles where everything's awful 1 minute and amazing the next minute, and it's actually really super unstable. And so what we want to connect to as we heal is this inevitable continued process of expansion and contraction, as well as the knowledge that the limit or the size or the breadth of our expansion and contraction can change at any given time, and that we actually have control of how much we are expanding and how much we are contracting. And once we're empowered to kind of work with this and play with this, we can really then step into energy mastery. But let's come back to this very basic somatic exercise for today for expansion and contraction. And all we're going to do is connect to the felt sense of expansion through our inhale and contraction through our exhale. So we're just going to learn to trust that both states always exist. And once there's this sort of somatic trust in the process, when we do go into contraction, when we do hit a low, we're not going to be so scared about it, and we're not going to fight against it and stick ourselves in it. And same when we move into expansion, which is always inevitable, we're going to stop trying to overexpand and taking ourselves into unsustainable states and coming back into these deeply contracted states. So I guess the goal is to find equilibrium. So all we're going to do is sort of be breathing into our torso and connecting to the expansion, and then connecting to the contraction on the exhale. And we're going to use a beautiful affirmation from the book to pair with it, which is, I honor my breath, my life force, my aliveness. This is where we move towards a deep state of reverence for our life and our energy. And it's from here that we can really show up in ways that are sustainable and support our long-term well-being. So find a really comfortable place to sit. You can sort of sit like I am, or you can use a wall against your back if it feels more comfortable. And you can either just have your palms down on your lap like this, or you can bring them over your heart, or you may like to actually connect with your hands to your ribcage to actually feel the sense of expansion and contraction as you go. So when you're ready, get comfortable, choose your hand position and close your eyes if it feels safe. And just notice your natural rhythm of your breath. The natural expansion and contraction, the natural inhale and exhale. And just noticing if you can gently extend or expand the length of the inhale and the exhale. Expanding with the inhale, contracting with the exhale. Expanding with the inhale, contracting with the exhale. And see what it's like to just expand your limit a little more. So breathing in a little more, a little longer. And exhaling with the same extra amount. So just increasing your capacity, your limit. And noticing how that feels. Noticing the inevitability of both your expansion and your contraction, trusting that this is true and real. Notice what that offers you. Allowing this practice to be remembered and returned to anytime it feels like there is too much contraction or too much expansion, a way to regulate and remember the inevitable cycle of life.